Hello everybody, Friend of Bitch here, bringing you another video. In today's video I'm doing Pinky Tails, Applejack, and the Beanstalk. So, I did say I would go back to Mod Pony once he did Princess Trixie, but someone suggested me to do Pinky Tails, Applejack, and the Beanstalk. I don't know how to say about this, but let's see how this turns out with Applejack. So without ado, play button in 3, 2, 1. Pinky Tails.
Pinky Tails. Applejack and the Beanstalk. Hey there, Pound and Pumpkin.
And
Are you
start out with
really
Pinkie Pie and
super
Pound
excited
Cake
for your bedtime story tonight?
Ooh.
It's a good one.
It is?
It's all about this pony and this plant and this huge... Well, I'll just get to it.
Yeah, please do. Let's get started.
Once upon a time.
Good. Whoa.
In a kingdom far away, there lived a poor farmer named Applejack. Although her name would lead you to believe that she harvested apples, it was a common misconception.
Wait.
Pinky?
Misconception is quite a big word. You could just say incorrect. That's a big word too. Mistake?
Pinky?
Thank you, Pinky. Applejack and her mother, Mrs. Sparkle, were in fact cotton farmers. And as every pony knows, clothing for ponies is an unnecessary luxury.
It is.
Especially in hard times like these. Therefore, they were suffering financially.
Why don't you just say that they need it back?
Pinky!
That's what it
What do you
means,
mean?
Pinky.
It does?
Oh, carry on then.
Jeez,
Times
Pinky,
were
stop
so
pausing the
hard, in
video.
fact, that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter only had one last thing to their name, a cow named Rainbow Vine.
I get it! Because a bovine is another word for a cow, and it's Rainbow Dash.
I get it too.
On the day that Mrs. Sparkle and her daughter had finished the last of their bread, she turned to her daughter and said,
"You must go into town and sell our cow for some bits, or we will surely starve."
Oh no.
Our cow? You mean Rainbow?
Don't dawdle, Applejack, and don't stop for anything on your way. Accept no less than 10 bits for her.
So with
bits.
Rainbow Vine in tow, Applejack made her way along the worn path towards town.
So is that all you can say then?
Is it?
Moo?
I guess not.
Well, howdy there, and hello
Oh.
to you, fellow traveler.
A smooth-talking sales pony and his brother said, approaching Applejack with friendly yet somehow still sinister smiles.
Let me guess. You're interested in the cow.
Mighty fine beast you got there. If you're looking to sell, I'm sure we could take it off your hooves for, say, 5 bits.
Oh.
5 bits? Aren't you supposed to be tricking me into selling her for some magic beans?
Magic beans?
One of the brothers said, then turned to the other.
Why, of course we have ourselves some magic beans. Magic to its finest.
The
It
other
is?
brother agreed.
Of course, these here are precious beans, and we wouldn't part with them for just anything.
Oh boy.
Do we gotta trade or what?
Deal.
Oh boy.
Really? I mean, moo!
Before another word could be said,
Really?
the pair of ponies had vanished with Rainbow Vine, leaving poor foolish Applejack with 3 lousy and ordinary beans.
They're supposed to be magic beans.
Ah, yes, of course, Pinky. 3 lousy and magical beans.
Better.
Seriously,
When
how many times
Applejack
Pinky
proudly
gonna break
presented the
fourth
beans to
wall?
her mother, however, Mrs. Sparkle was far less than pleased.
Beans? Beans? I sent you into town for bits, not beans. We cannot live on 3 beans, Applejack. What were you thinking?
Yeah, what were
I'm
you...
just doing what's supposed to be done, and I know for a fact this story has the cow traded for beans.
Oh, AJ.
Worthless!
Mrs. Sparkle exclaimed, tossing the beans from her hoof into the dry, brittle yard just outside the window.
Well, maybe you could use your alicorn magic to make them into magic beans.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as magic beans. End of story. Now off to bed with you. I will have to come up with another plan to get food in this house.
What Mrs. Sparkle didn't know was that the beans she had unknowingly planted were in fact magical.
They
And by the
were?
full moon's light, they took root in the hard soil and sprung up into a beanstalk that soared into the sky and pierced through clouds.
Whoa.
When morning finally came, Applejack and her mother gazed in awe at the beanstalk,
Oh,
letting their imaginations run wild with the possibilities of where it would lead.
Maybe I should climb it.
Are you sure, Applejack?
Are
It
you?
looks rather dangerous.
Dangerous? How is this dangerous? There's a spiral ramp conveniently wrapped around the beanstalk leading all the way up.
Wow, that
Please
is...
be careful, my daughter.
Mrs. Sparkle said,
daughter.
embracing
What's those
Applejack
things?
one
Apple
final time
Sparkle?
before Applejack began the climb.
Honestly, the least these storytellers could do is write in a proper challenge. What, do they think I can't climb a beanstalk on my own?
Applejack
can you?
ranted just before she broke through the cloud cover.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah.
Applejack added, taking a look around, and discovered an entire world above the clouds that no pony would have ever dreamed.
What do you mean?
Wait, am I expected to walk on this here cloud?
Yeah,
I'm
what is
still
it-
just an earth pony, you know.
Yeah, what does he fall
Can't do that
through?
sort of thing without Twilight's magic. Oh well.
Applejack took a wary step onto the cloud and found, much to her surprise, that it was firm as solid ground. She wandered away from the beanstalk and took note of the strange plants, which seemed far larger than those back in Equestria.
That's a...
Even the blades of
that's a
grass
big
could tower
building.
over her in some
And that's
places.
Syracuse Corner.
After wandering for a few minutes, Applejack came upon a
no,
giant
that's-
building,
what is-
and her eyes widened as she beheld it.
Bakery?
A bakery?
It's a giant bakery. Gee, I wonder who could possibly live in a giant bakery in the sky.
Oh,
Still, she knew that
Applejack.
bakeries had all manner of wonderful things to eat, and that perhaps this was the answer to all of her problems. Without so
Whoa,
much as a knock,
that's a lot- that's a-
Applejack easily slipped under the giant bakery's door and craned her neck up to see shelves upon shelves of wonderful things to eat. There were pastries, creams, pies, cakes, donuts, and loaves of delicious bread for as far as she could see.
Yeah,
The only
me.
problem was that each of these delectable goodies were too high to reach and too heavy to lift and bring back home. While
How
she
do you
pondered
get it
her
down, though?
predicament, Applejack could hear a faint tooting sound coming from somewhere on the table nearby. She wandered closer, the sound becoming progressively louder as she did so.
Dude.
It reminded her of the sound of a tuba, intermingled with the sobs of a pony. Once she reached one of the legs of the table, she paused.
Oh, look! Another conveniently placed spiral ramp leading from the floor to the table. How totally unexpected.
Yeah.
Applejack climbed the leg of the
Seriously,
table,
is this
and
supposed to be
once she
hard
reached
for
the
AJ
top,
or easy?
she saw an array of wonderful sugary things to eat. There were jellies as tall as buildings, and pies as wide as farmland, cakes as deep as
Wide as
ravines,
farmland?
and all manner of candies scattered about in a chaotic fashion. She was so overtaken by the sight that she nearly forgot the reason she had climbed in the first place. It wasn't until she heard another loud and out-of-tune tuba tune that she continued her pursuit of the sound. When she turned the corner,
Whoa, hey,
Applejack
hey,
saw what she
Rarity,
believed was just a
Rarity.
regular tuba slumped against a piece of blueberry pie. What she didn't realize was that the tuba itself was moving and sobbing as it made its off-key noises.
Everything alright there,
Yeah,
miss?
everything okay?
Oh, don't start at me like that, darling. I hate tooting in front of guests.
You was just
Are-
crying tubing.
Are you supposed to be a magical talking tuba?
Yes. Oh, woe is me. Dude.
Why not
I
a
thought
harp?
you were supposed to be a harp.
Thank you,
Isn't it a
AJ.
magical singing harp?
Yeah.
A harp. Oh, I wish it were so, darling. Toot. But instead, I am stuck as a dreadful tuba making all kinds of terrible toot noises. Oh, but where are my manners? Hello there, young traveler. I am Raritoot.
Rare toot.
Really?
Yes, really. And I am dreadfully sorrowful. Well, go on. Ask me why I'm sorrowful.
Yeah, why are you?
Why are you sorry?
Cause I'm I am a captive in this dreadful place, forced to play music, party music, for the wicked giant's many parties. Toot! I would rather be playing classical pieces and sounding as light as a lute. But no, I am stuck playing such tunes as Every Pony Dance Now and
Every pony dance now.
Raritude cried, and with each sob, she let out another dreadful tooting sound. Applejack winced at the sound and covered her ears. At this point, she would say anything to make the awful noises stop.
Yes, please.
How's about I help you escape then?
You would do that for me? Oh, how wonderful! Toot! We will become the best of friends, you and I. Perhaps you could learn to play the violin. Then we could perform concerts together and...
Whoa now, wait just a minute. I said I'd help you escape. I never said you could come home with me.
Yeah.
I have nowhere else to go. Oh, Toot, Toot. Oh, Toot.
Oh boy, here
You
we go.
simply must take me with you.
I don't know.
Come on,
I
AJ.
can surely make it worth your while, darling.
And how's that?
I know of a magical tree that the giant keeps, which bears fruit of the golden apple. Each one 24 carats at least. They're mighty delicious, darling, if used the right way. Though I suppose they could be sold for profit, too, if you so desired.
That
Golden
is
apples! So that's why I've been led here.
Huh?
Show me the way, Raritude.
And then I can come with you?
Sure, why not? I can shove the golden apples in my ears to drown out the tooting.
Oh, this is positively marvelous!
I don't know what that tune is.
Please.
I'll do my best, darling, but I am a tuba after all.
True that.
And don't eat any of the food, or there will be drastic consequences.
You mean wait,
What kind of consequences?
Let us hope you don't find out. Come on!
Let's hope we don't.
Applejack followed after Raritude. Her interest had certainly been piqued. Why would taking a bite of food be so wrong?
Yeah.
At first, it was an easy request to follow, but with each new delicious treat after another, they became more and
cinnamon
more
bun.
tempting. It seemed to Applejack that each new dessert was better than the last, and her stomach grumbled each time she avoided taking a bite.
Ooh.
She hadn't eaten since the day before, and even
sounds
then it was
hungry.
a meager meal at best. Still, Applejack did as Raritude had advised, until she caught sight of the most amazing dessert she had ever seen and smelled.
What is that?
Why, it's a golden apple pie, of course!
Golden apple
Made from the
pie.
apples of the tree we are seeking.
Ooh.
Golden apple.
Applejack trailed off, her hooves unconsciously walking closer to it.
Here we are, darling. The tree is just around the corner. Wait, what are you doing? Toot!
Raritude screamed with a loud toot of distress. Applejack had wandered over to the pie, her eyes transfixed on its golden filling. Her mouth watered, and her stomach grumbled loudly.
Yeah.
And though she could hear Raritude's annoying and loud warnings not to, Applejack leaned in and took a bite. It was the most amazing pie she had ever tasted, and she buried her face into the pie for another bite. Without missing a beat, the giant door burst open, scaring Applejack so much that she leaped into the golden pie to hide. Standing at the door with a large grin on her face was none other than Pinky the Giant.
Pinky the Giant.
Bye, diddly-dum-doo-bum-bee. Who dares steal a bite from my tasty pastry?
How did he
Pinky
know?
the Giant bounced from the door to the table, causing the room to quake as if the earth itself was moving. Raritude screamed with a toot and ducked behind a large piece of cake while Applejack struggled to keep her hat on her head as the golden apple pie bounced up and down on the
Oh,
tabletop.
it's like a.
All clear here.
Pinky the Giant said as she inspected a cupcake on the opposite end of the table.
Nothing wrong here. Or here.
She examined each pastry, picking up one at a time, looking for any little missing pieces or nibbles. Applejack frantically poked her head out of the pie and looked for a new hiding place.
Yeah, we're
She
gonna.
saw Raritude giving her a nasty glare, and then she noticed the tree that she had been searching for. It was no more than 50 yards from the pie, with a yellow trunk and light pink leaves, and on each of the many branches hung a bright golden apple.
Oh.
Although the room was shaking with every bounce from the giant, Applejack could have sworn she saw the tree shaking in fear all on its own.
Eh.
Ah, my prize
Uh-oh.
pie!
Pinky exclaimed, pulling the golden apple pie to her nose to smell. Applejack shouted,
Whoa!
falling with a splat back into the pie.
Uh-oh.
What? My pie can talk?
Pinky cried, dropping the pie onto the table and causing many other desserts to fall over.
Oh, say something else, oh magical deliciousness!
AJ might want to come up with
And
something
popped her head
quick.
out of the pie, gasping for air before she met the gaze of the rather disappointed giant.
Aw, you're not a talking pie at all. You're just a pie thief.
Pinky the giant said, reaching down with her hoof and scooping Applejack out of the pie. Applejack was barely able to grab her hat in time and cringed when she put its wet stickiness back on her head.
Who are you? And what do you want with my desserts?
You don't know who I am, Pinky?
Yeah,
Of course I don't, Applejack. This is the first time I've ever seen you before.
you just said her name.
Just say
It doesn't matter anyway. You
Ew.
have defiled my
Hey.
greatest work, and now you must pay. To her.
Yes, Miss Giant?
Play me a tune. An old western kind of tune.
Oh,
Being a
western?
boy in a hat gives me a great idea.
Before Applejack could wonder what Pinky the giant could possibly be planning, she found herself in another corner of the bakery where a collection of pony-sized
figures.
toys strewn about the
AJ,
countertop.
wow, that's
Within a
good.
flash, Applejack was redressed in cow pony boots, a white hat, and a vest where a cheap but golden sheriff star was pinned.
Wow, that's...
While Applejack tried to figure out how she could be dressed so quickly, Pinky the giant had set up an entire old western scene complete with shops, desert sand, and an old railroad track.
Wow, that was
what's
quick.
this here setup all about?
Applejack asked,
Yeah.
attempting to take her hat off. Of course, Pinky the giant was having none of that. She readjusted the hat on Applejack's head. She picked up a little purple alicorn toy dressed in a similar designed black outfit and a crudely drawn black mustache.
It's...
Ha! We meet again, Sheriff Applebottom. You
At the
can
bottom.
You're my evil plan.
Are we really doing this, Pinky?
Yes.
Quiet! Don't you want to know what my plan is?
What nefarious plan have you concocted, Pinky?
Yeah.
Pinky? Who is this Pinky?
I'm so
Midnight
lost with this.
Moonshine, the unwanted outlaw.
Moonshine? You
Moonshine.
do realize that's another name for...
Ah! Help me, Sheriff Applebottom!
Pinky said,
I am
speaking for a
make
different
that
toy
I'm
on the
double
playset.
so lost.
This was a white unicorn mare with a deep purple mane that was tied crudely to the train track with a piece of giant yarn.
Ha ha ha! Save her if you can, Applebottom! And while you do, I will rob the cookie bank!
No, not the cookie bank! No! It's in where my cookies are stored!
Applejack looked
I
from
put 20
Pinky
cookies
to
in
the
there.
toys that were roughly her size.
I don't have time for this.
Pinky lowered her head and rested it on the table, looking Applejack in the eye, glaring darkly.
What did you say?
Oh.
I said... fret not, miss.
Rarity.
Oh, so we're not changing her name then?
Nothing else fit right.
From across the way,
Rarity.
Raritoot made an unimpressed tooting
Really?
sound.
Yeah.
Miss Rarity then. I shall save you.
Applejack sauntered towards the Rarity doll. It too was dressed for the part, wearing a red frilly gown and a hat that she was sure that real Rarity would never dare to wear.
Yeah. Yeah.
She bit down on the yarn and pulled, wondering what the catch was. That
Yeah.
was, of course, when Applejack caught sight of a toy train heading her way.
Whoa, no.
Miss Applebottom!
Really?
Yeah.
Hurry! Hurry! Hurry!
Concerning, I'm doing my best.
Pinky screamed in place of the Rarity doll, just as Applejack pulled it free. The toy train sped by and straight off the counter. landing with a crash on the unforgiving ground below.
Well, that ain't good.
This did not seem to deter Pinkie as she cheered for the doll.
Oh, Apple Bottom, you're my hero.
I'm looking mad at the mic
sure
fell
am,
on the
Pink.
table.
Rarity, are we done now?
Done? We've only just begun.
Begun?
Pinkie the Giant exclaimed, motioning to the cupboard behind her to show Applejack the many hundreds of outfits and playsets she had stored away for playtime. The pit of Applejack's stomach dropped, and her eyes widened, imagining the horrors that were to come.
But I do have to take a teensy-weensy break to finish baking all the goodies for the party.
Party?
Giant Gummy's cake must be perfect.
Go, I do
Pinkie
not
the
want to
Giant
make
said,
gummy.
swooping Applejack up with one swipe of her hoof. She hummed merrily to herself
I do not
as she
want to make
placed
gummy.
Applejack on the shelf in the play cupboard, as if she were now one of the many toys Pinkie had collected. As Pinkie closed the cupboard door, Applejack quickly pushed her hat in the way of the lock. Pinkie the Giant turned the key and bounced away, assuming that she had successfully locked Applejack inside. From the table below, Rarity caught sight of Applejack's trick and intended to use her music to aid in her escape. She turned her attention to Pinkie the Giant, tooting as she hobbled towards her.
Might I play you a tune while you cook your delicacies?
Oh, a happy working song?
Pinkie!
No, Pinkie. Disney claimed the rights to that one.
Aww.
They did?
Perhaps something soothing.
Rarity offered, trying her best to play a tune to lull the giant to sleep, a hard task to do when you're a tuba. Of course, as it is with these sorts of fairy tales, Pinkie the Giant was helpless to Rarity's song. She set down her giant baking sheet of cookies and rested her head on the table. After a few minutes of silence, Applejack could hear her soft snores. She struggled a little at first to pull her hat free, then bucked the wood of the door to open it. Being careful not to make a sound, Applejack leapt from the cupboard and onto the countertop, securing her hat back onto her head. She looked to the door and almost ran to safety when she remembered the delicious golden apples. She thought perhaps if the giant slept long enough, she could take the tree for herself.
Whoa, hang on a sec. Applejack wouldn't steal.
Pinkie!
You're supposed to be asleep.
Oh, right.
Ah, Pinkie,
Applejack
you're
crept
just
along
so...
the countertop, hopping from saucepan to baking sheet, making her way back towards the table. At long last, she reached the golden apple tree, marveling at the delicious fruit that it grew.
Maybe I could have just one.
Applejack said, turning around to buck the bark of the tree and cause an apple to fall.
Oh, if you don't mind, I would rather you didn't do that.
Fluttershy, are you a tree?
Yes! They finally
Who's
made her a
Fluttershy?
Are you? Well, then who are you?
I'm Flutter Tree.
Of course. Of course you're called Flutter Tree.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll play along. Flutter Tree, would you be so kind as to allow me to take you home with me?
Oh, I don't know. That's
Oh
not
my
very
God,
nice.
it's
I mean, I don't
my
really
pony,
like
you
it
just
here,
got-
but
just
it
made
would be
a
so
happy
sad if
pony.
the giant woke up and the tree was
so
missing.
many others.
What does Flutter Tree want?
Yeah, what does he want?
Well, will there be little animals where you live?
I live on a farm. Little critters are always wandering about.
Yeah.
Oh, like little pigs and cows and chickens?
Yes.
Maybe even some songbirds and squirrels.
Something like that.
Huh?
So, what do you say?
Oh, alright, I'll come with you. But how do you expect to carry me away all on your own?
Yeah, how?
I figured I'd use the conveniently placed wagon about 10 feet from where I'm standing.
Wow.
Applejack said, tilting her head to the side to indicate to the little red wagon waiting behind Flutter Tree.
Wow.
I guess all them ramps make sense now.
Wait,
Can't
what?
wheel you out of here without them.
Applejack pushed Flutter Tree towards the wagon, and then used every ounce of her strength to lift it into place. As she strained and groaned under the weight of the tree, one of the golden apples shook loose and plopped right onto her head.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Applejack merely shook her head and picked up the apple that had fallen. She rubbed it on her vest before taking a mouth-watering bite.
We're gonna be at the top of the town once I get these here apples home.
You
no
are?
pony will be able to resist them, and our money troubles will be over.
Applejack declared, finishing the apple with a satisfied smirk. She took the handle of the wagon in her mouth and carefully pulled it along the tabletop as far from the sleeping giant as she could. From the corner of her eye, Raritoot could see Applejack and Fluttertree nearing the edge of the table, where the ramp around the leg would take them safely down. She gasped in horror, thinking that Applejack had forgotten her promise to take her along. She hurried across the table towards them, each hop making a toot sound. The more frantically she hopped, the louder and off-key the toots became.
Shh! Shh! Can't you keep that racket down?
Yeah!
You forgot me? Toot! After all I've done for you, and you were just going to leave me here?
Shh! I was not! I was gonna get this here tree to the floor first and then come back for you, I swear!
Oh.
A likely story. Toot! You didn't even want to go with me in the first place. Why would you want a useless, ugly old tuba lying around the house?
Calm down, Raritoot.
Please, Raritoot, you have to keep it down.
Yeah.
The giant might wake up and...
It's always about that silly old tree, isn't it? Toot! Oh, these apples are so delicious.
Oh.
What an amazing tree. Such a magical wonder. I bet it's the rarest fruit ever grown.
Raritoot!
Yeah.
Raritoot shouted, letting out a loud toot as she did so. Applejack put a hoof to her face and closed her eyes as she heard the unwelcome sound of the giant waking up.
Uh-oh.
Never ordered that bungee jumping equipment.
Wait, what? What?
What's going on here?
Okay, I don't get the first part.
Tuba.
Uh-oh.
Apple tree.
Run!
Applejack shouted, wheeling Fluttertree down the leg of the table and towards the door.
Wait for me.
Raritoot objected, bumping into a large cupcake as she pursued Applejack. The cupcake teetered on the edge of the table before landing with a splash mere inches from Fluttertree.
Whoa,
Applejack smeared some of the splattered frosting from her face with disdain before continuing towards the opened door.
I left the door open?
Yes, Pinky, it's called a plot device.
It is?
Well, that wasn't very smart of me. Applejack might get away with my stuff.
That's the point, Pinky.
Pinky, seriously.
Okay,
Stop
you can
breaking
continue.
fits. Stop pausing
Pinky
the
the giant
video.
listened for the toots of her tuba until she spotted them making their exit. She growled and raced for the door ahead of them. Before she could make it, however, Pinky stepped down on the fallen cupcake and slid from one end of the room to the other, colliding into a wall.
You okay?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Applejack,
That's a good
Raritoot,
sign.
and Fluttertree made their way
Okay,
outside
sounds
towards the
painful, though.
beanstalk. Pinky the giant was on their tail, and Raritoot screamed a toot so loudly in panic that Applejack's ears went flat against her head.
Could you stop that?
Yeah.
We're trying to make our escape here.
Get back here, thief! Even if it is uncharacteristic that you would be stealing anything, we're going to ignore that for story purposes!
Pinky the giant shouted after them.
Pinky's so
Applejack
big.
bucked Raritoot up into the wagon, alongside Fluttertree, then got behind the wagon and pushed it.
What are you doing?
Hang on, Miss Tuba. We're in for a ride.
Miss Tuba.
Applejack said, pushing the wagon onto the beanstalk and then hopping into it herself. With a loud,
Yeehaw!
the three of them rolled down the beanstalk ramp, Raritoot screaming the entire way down. Mrs. Sparkle
I
had
love
waited
the
half a day
toots.
for her daughter to
The tuba
return.
toots.
She looked up at the beanstalk curiously when she heard a strange sound of a screaming tuba. Much to her surprise, Applejack and her two new companions rolled off the beanstalk, missing the house to land in the dead cotton fields.
Twilight, the axe, quick!
From the clouds above, Pinky the giant waited at the top of the beanstalk and watched Applejack make her descent.
Why are you waiting?
Why are you waiting, Pinky?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be pursuing them?
Oh, that would be silly. I'm a giant and I could have caught up to them in 2 bounces. Not to mention I could climb down much faster than a rolling wagon before she even had a chance to find an axe.
That
So you're
is-
just going to wait here for her?
Yeah.
Yeah, It's a pretty big plot hole in the original story, if you ask me.
That's
Once
true.
Applejack's axe
That
began
would be
chipping away
impossible
at
for
the
a giant to catch
beanstalk,
up.
Pinky the Giant resumed her chase, sliding down the beanstalk like it was a fire pony pole.
It seems like he's having fun.
Before she could reach the ground, however, Applejack's axe had cut clean into the beanstalk
Timber!
and the entire plant toppled to the ground.
Hey, look, it's Rainbow Vine.
Pinky the Giant was a few feet from the ground when she suddenly stopped in midair and righted herself, landing softly on her hooves.
Yeah.
I'm like a cat, always landing on my paws. Hooves.
Except you slipped on a cupcake 2 minutes ago.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about
Pinky the
that.
Giant spotted the only living creature in sight. It was a brightly colored cow with rainbow hair. She shook on her hooves when she looked up at the giant, too shocked to run.
Oh my goodness! It's a rainbow vine! I bet I can get her to milk me rainbow milk too! Bet I can make rainbow butter, rainbow cake, rainbow pudding!
Pinky the
Ooh,
Giant
that
leaned
sounds-
down
that
and
sounds
swooped up the
good.
cow.
Who needs some crummy old golden apples anyway? This is so much better!
It
Pinky
is.
the Giant grabbed a tuft of cloud passing by and fashioned it into a flight of stairs. She hummed a merry
By
tune
one-
to herself
one
as she
cloud?
bounced back up to her home in the sky, drowning out the frantic mooing of Rainbow Vine as she went.
Oh, poor.
Meanwhile,
poor.
Applejack and her mother
Rainbow
delighted in
Vine.
their new flutter tree, picking the golden apples that would magically appear once the fruit had been picked. With the seeds from the apples, they replanted their dead field until an entire orchard of flutter trees sprang up from the ground.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I hit your branch? Oh, pardon me. I'm sorry. Could you take a few hops to the left, please?
You're a tree, you can't do hops.
Oh, my bad. Oh, look, a little blue jay. Where? Oh, these animals are so cute. Oh, he's so cute. Move a little, please. Oh, he's
Can't,
so
you're a tree.
adorable.
You're planted.
Oh, pardon me. My bad. Look, a little these animals are so cute.
so confused.
Pardon me. So sad.
Raritoot spent her time playing songs for Applejack and Mrs. Sparkle as they harvested their new crop, whether they liked it or not. And with the money they earned making golden apple products, they were finally able to pay off their debts and live a comfortable life.
Yay!
And good night, Pound. Good night, Pumpkin. Sweet dreams, my little ponies. And good
roll
night to you
credits.
too out there. Hope to see you next time for some more Pinky Tales.
Roll credits. Oh, good. Lost narrator is the narrator and roll. Nice. Oh. Raritoot. I knew Slim and Flame. Next time, Pinky Tail's Red Riding Blue. Wow, that was something. How that all turned out. Okay, so Applejack and the Beanstalk. Where can I begin with this one? That was hilarious. Robobine the cow, nice name for Rainbow. And yes, Mod Pony, you made Fluttershy's dream come true. She's a tree. She kept saying, I'd like to be a tree, and you did it. Oh, that was so funny. The Western thing, I don't understand that, but that was fun. I don't understand, but it was very funny. Oh my goodness, that was hilarious how that turned out. And come on, Mod Pony, you gave so many things away, like the helper. using the beanstalk, he has to get... How? Wow, it's been so long, I don't know how that would work. Anyway, anything else? The artwork was good, and there was some good animation with Pinkie Pie breaking the fourth wall. Come on, Pinkie, stop breaking the fourth. Pinkie, yes. I'm not gonna say it. Stop breaking physics. And, the music was good, too. At the end, that was really incredible. Okay, so, like, comment, subscribe for more. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter. I'll be doing more of this, and the human Octi and Vinyl Scratch sometime later on. And, that's it. Well, this is Real Blitz, flying away from Pinkie Tails, Applejack, and the Beanstalk. Till next time. Bye.